Good afternoon. This is All India Radio. I'm Anuja Kumar, and with me is Rupinder Kaur Chawla with the Midday News. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurates development projects worth over 3,000 crore rupees under Gujarat Gaurav Abhiyan. Says these development projects will help open opportunities for tribal people by improving connectivity and basic amenities in the state. The double-engine government worked dedicatedly on Garib Kalyan through schemes such as Awas Yojana, Jal Jeevan Mission and Ujjwala Yojana and improved lives and livelihood of the marginalized, says Prime Minister. President Ramnath Kovind to attend 6th convocation of Central University of Himachal Pradesh at Dharamshala this evening. During biennial elections to Rajya Sabha, polling underway for 16 seats across 4 states of Maharashtra, Karnataka, Rajasthan and Haryana. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh visits training institutions of Vietnam on the final day of his 3-day visit to the Southeast Asian country. New guidelines to protect interests of the consumer from misleading publicity come into effect from today. In Khelo India Youth Games, Haryana retains lead in medals tally, followed by Maharashtra and Manipur. In Indonesia Masters Badminton Tournament, PV Sindhu to take on Ratnachok Intanon in quarter-finals today. And now the news in detail. Prime Minister Narendra Modi today inaugurated and laid the foundation stone of multiple development initiatives of over 3,000 crore rupees in Gujarat. This includes the inauguration of 7 projects, foundation stone laying for 12 projects and Bhumi Pujan for 14 projects. Addressing the gathering during Gujarat Gaurav Abhiyan at Khudwel in tribal region in Navsari, Prime Minister said these projects will bring ease of living to Surat, Navsari, Valsad and Tapi districts of South Gujarat.
मुझे 3,000 करोड़ रुपए से अधिक के प्रोजेक्ट का लोकार्पण, शिलान्यास और भूमि पूजन करने का अवसर मिला है। ये सारे प्रोजेक्ट्स दक्षिण गुजरात के करोड़ों साथियों का जीवन आसान बनाएंगे। बिजली, पानी, सड़क, स्वास्थ्य, शिक्षा और हर प्रकार की कनेक्टिविटी, और वो भी विशेष रूप से हमारे आदिवासी क्षेत्र में हो, तब तो वो सुविधा रोजगार के नए अवसरों से जोड़ेंगे। इन सारी विकास योजनाओं के लिए मैं आज पूरे गुजरात को बहुत बधाई देता हूं।
The Prime Minister said these projects will help in improving the water supply in the region along with boosting connectivity and enhancing the ease of living. Mr. Modi said continuous welfare and projects of development have been part of his governance style for long, and these projects are aimed for the welfare of people and Garib Kalyan and are way beyond any electoral consideration. He said that children of the tribal communities should get all the possible opportunities and noted their qualities of cleanliness, wisdom, organization and discipline. Education in the mother tongue, even for technical courses like medical and engineering, will open chances for OBC tribal children, he said.
गुजरात गौरव अभियान का हिस्सा बनना ये भी मेरे लिए अपने आप में गौरवपूर्ण बात है। गुजरात का गौरव बीते 2 दशक में जो तेज विकास हुआ है, सबका विकास है, और इस विकास से पैदा हुई नई आकांक्षाएं हैं। इस गौरवशाली परंपरा को डबल इंजन की सरकार ईमानदारी से आगे बढ़ा रही है।
He said the government has embarked upon the program of 100% empowerment of the poor through saturation of the welfare schemes. Mr. Modi said the government has succeeded in linking many new segments of people and regions with the development process and aspirations. The Prime Minister said lives are changing through infrastructure, education, business, connectivity-related schemes in the most far-flung areas. President Ramnath Kovind will attend the 6th convocation of the Central University of Himachal Pradesh at Dharamshala today. Details from our correspondent.
During the visit, President Ramnath Kovind will attend the 6th convocation of the Central University of Himachal Pradesh at Government College Auditorium in Dharamshala today. On the occasion, President will address the convocation ceremony and confer gold medals and degrees to the meritorious students. Himachal Pradesh Governor Rajendra Vishwanath Arlekar, Union Information and Broadcasting Minister Anurag Singh Thakur, Chief Minister Jairam Thakur, State Education Minister Govind Singh Thakur and other dignitaries will also attend the event. A total of 486 students will be awarded degrees in this convocation, whereas 69 meritorious students securing the first position in various faculties classes will be awarded gold medals and degrees. Sanjeev Sundariyal, AIR News, Shimla.
During the biennial elections to Rajya Sabha, polling for 16 seats across the 4 states of Maharashtra, Karnataka, Rajasthan and Haryana is presently underway. Polling started at 9 a.m. for 6 seats in Maharashtra, 4 each in Rajasthan and Karnataka, along with 2 seats in Haryana. The polling process is scheduled to close at 4 p.m. and counting of votes will be taken up at 5 p.m. Among the candidates whose electoral fate will be decided in these elections are Union Ministers Nirmala Sitharaman and Piyush Goyal, Congress leaders Randeep Surjewala, Jairam Ramesh and Mukul Wasnik, along with Shiv Sena leader Sanjay Raut. Earlier, 41 candidates were elected unopposed by the concerned state returning officers after the last date for the withdrawal of candidature. The newly elected candidates included 11 from Uttar Pradesh, 6 from Tamil Nadu, 5 from Bihar, 4 from Andhra Pradesh, 3 each from Madhya Pradesh and Odisha, 2 each from Chhattisgarh, Punjab, Telangana and Jharkhand, along with 1 from Uttarakhand. Out of these 41 seats, BJP bagged 14 seats, Congress won 4 and YSR Congress candidates elected unopposed on 4 seats, while DMK got 3 seats and Biju Janata Dal got 3 seats. Apart from this, AIADMK won 2 seats, Telangana Rashtra Samiti got 2 and Aam Aadmi Party secured 2. Rashtriya Janata Dal also won 2 seats, while Samajwadi Party, Janata Dal Secular and Jharkhand Mukti Morcha got 1 seat each. Former Congress leader Kapil Sibal was elected as an independent candidate and Rashtriya Lok Dal President Jayant Chaudhary was also declared elected. Both of them were elected with Samajwadi Party support.
In Rajasthan, polling is underway at State Assembly House for the 4 Rajya Sabha seats in the state. Chief Minister Ashok Gehlot, former Chief Minister Vasundhara Raje and many other members have exercised their franchise. BJP has fielded Ghanshyam Tiwari as its candidate. Media group owner Subhash Chandra is trying his fate as an independent candidate with the support of the BJP. In Karnataka, most of the MLAs from BJP, Congress and JDS have cast their votes during the Rajya Sabha biennial election in Bengaluru when reports last came in. There are 6 candidates in fray for the 4 seats of Rajya Sabha in the state. The ruling BJP can easily elect 2 of its candidates with a strength of 120 MLAs and Congress can elect 1 of its candidates with a strength of 69 MLAs. JDS with 32 MLAs do not have sufficient numbers to elect its candidate. Hence, there is a contest for the 4th seat with the second preferential votes playing a crucial role to decide the fate of the 4th seat.
In Haryana, polling for the 2 Rajya Sabha seats is underway. The polling will continue till 4 p.m. So far, 89 MLAs have exercised their franchise. The independent MLA from Meham, Balraj Singh Kundu, has decided not to vote. He said that he has taken this decision in the interest of the state. 2 votes of Congress MLAs have been cancelled. There are 3 candidates in fray for these 2 seats from Haryana. The BJP has fielded Christian Pawar and extended support to independent candidate Kartikeya Sharma, who also has the backing of the Jan Nayak Janata Party JJP, an ally of the BJP. Ajay Maken is the Congress nominee for the Rajya Sabha elections from Haryana. Polling is underway for 6 Rajya Sabha seats in Maharashtra at the Vidhan Sabha, the state legislature complex in Mumbai. Our correspondent reports that there is a close contest being played out between the state's ruling Shiv Sena and opposition Bharatiya Janata Party for the 6th seat. 238 members of Legislature Assembly cast their votes till 12:25 p.m. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh visited the training institutions of Vietnam on the final day of his 3-day visit today to the Southeast Asian country. He is in Vietnam to enhance defence cooperation between the 2 countries. The minister began the day's engagements by paying a visit to Air Force Officers Training School at Nha Trang. He handed over a gift of $1 million on behalf of the Government of India for the establishment of a language and IT laboratory in the school. Addressing the officers at the school, he expressed hope that the laboratory would substantially contribute to sharpen the language and IT skills of Air Defence and Air Force personnel of Vietnam. Later, Mr. Rajnath Singh visited the Telecommunications University in Nha Trang, where an Army software park is being established with a $5 million grant from the Government of India. The grant was announced during Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to Vietnam in September 2016.
Coal Ministry has finalized action plan document for the year 2022-23. The action plan broadly focuses on 15 crucial areas including grey hydrogen, energy transition, restructuring coal mines, Provident Fund organization, coal evacuation, regulatory mechanism for coal and coal pricing reforms. This is for the second time that an agenda document for the year has been brought out in the form of compilation. It has been provided to all senior functionaries who have been given the responsibility of steering these focus areas through the year with regular monitoring and appraisals. The Union Government has notified new guidelines for fair advertising to protect interests of consumer from misleading publicity of the product and service. These guidelines have come into effect from today. Briefing media in New Delhi, Secretary of Ministry of Consumer Affairs Rohit Kumar Singh said these guidelines will not only safeguard the interest of the consumer but also make industry understand about the ingenuity of the advertisements so that it can refrain itself from doing misleading publicity. Mr. Singh said if any product and advertisement is found to be violating these guidelines, they will face strict action by Central Consumer Protection Authority, CCPA.
More than 194 crore 76 lakh COVID vaccine doses have been administered in the country so far under the nationwide vaccination drive. The Health Ministry said more than 15 lakh 31,000 doses were administered in the last 24 hours. During the same period, 7,584 new cases were reported in the country. The recovery rate is currently at 98.7%.
You are listening to the Midday News on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurates development projects worth over 3,000 crore rupees under Gujarat Gaurav Abhiyan, says these development projects will help open opportunities for tribal people by improving connectivity and basic amenities in the state. The double-engine government worked dedicatedly on Garib Kalyan through schemes such as Awas Yojana, Jal Jeevan Mission and Ujjwala Yojana and improved lives and livelihood of the marginalized, says Prime Minister. President Ramnath Kovind to attend 6th convocation of Central University of Himachal Pradesh at Dharamshala this evening. During biennial elections to Rajya Sabha, polling underway for 16 seats across 4 states of Maharashtra, Karnataka, Rajasthan and Haryana. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh visits training institutions of Vietnam on the final day of his 3-day visit to the Southeast Asian country. New guidelines to protect interests of the consumer from misleading publicity come into effect from today. In Khelo India Youth Games, Haryana retained lead in medals tally, followed by Maharashtra and Manipur. In Indonesia Masters Badminton Tournament, PV Sindhu to take on Ratnachonok Intanon in quarterfinals today. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
कंपटीशन की अगर आप कर रहे हैं तैयारी तो उनके लिए ऑल इंडिया रेडियो पर हम लाए हैं अभ्यास, एक ऐसा कार्यक्रम जिसमें आप पूछेंगे सवाल व्हाट्सएप नंबर 9289094044 पर या फिर ईमेल करेंगे abhyas.airnews@gmail.com पर और हमारे विशेषज्ञ देंगे इसका जवाब। आपका अभ्यास हमारा प्रयास।
महिलाओं के विकास में भागीदार भारत सरकार। देश में पीएम आवास की 68% मालिक महिलाएं हैं। 35 करोड़ मुद्रा लोन लाभार्थियों में से 23 करोड़ महिलाएं हैं।
देश ने संकल्प लिया है 100% लाभार्थियों तक पहुंचने का।
8 साल सेवा, सुशासन, गरीब कल्याण।
Welcome back to the Midday News on All India Radio. A wonder of world northeast India is rich bejewelled with mountains, forests, streams and wildlife. In fact, it is an unexplored heaven on earth. Its jungles are dense, its rivers powerful, and rain and thunderstorms sweep across the hills, valleys and plains during the annual monsoons. The lushness of its landscape, the range of communities and geographical and ecological diversity makes the northeast an alluring tourist destination. A report. Earlier, northeastern region, despite having popular destinations in Meghalaya, Sikkim and Arunachal Pradesh, could not adequately avail of the tourism opportunities because of lack of support from the centre and low prioritization from successive governments. Union Minister of State Development of Northeastern Region, Doner, Dr. Jitendra Singh said, now there is a sea change in interstate air, rail and road connectivity in last 8 years. Northeast can offer an alternative to some of the European destinations.
प्राकृतिक सौंदर्य से माला माल, झील भी, झरने भी, पहाड़ भी, वादियां भी, अपने ढंग का हैंडलूम, अपने ढंग का हैंडीक्राफ्ट, अनोखी संस्कृति, लोगों में शालीनता, शिक्षा का इतना ऊंचा स्तर के किसी भी राज्य में 95% से कम लिटरेसी रेट नहीं था और इसलिए ये कल्पना में आया कि हम डेस्टिनेशन नॉर्थ ईस्ट के माध्यम से पूर्वोत्तर को देश के भिन्न भिन्न भागों में रेप्लिकेट करेंगे कि हिंदुस्तान से जो एनुअल हॉलिडे सीकर्स यूरोपियन डेस्टिनेशंस जाया करते थे उनको धीरे धीरे ये समझ में आने लगा है कि यूरोप के अधिकतर डेस्टिनेशंस जिस समय पूरी तरह से कोरोना से ग्रस्त थे उस समय हमारे पर्यटन स्थल गैंगटॉक हो, शिलांग हो, अंत तक कोरोना से मुक्त थे.
Improving connectivity to different parts of the Northeast will provide a definite boost to the tourism sector. Needless to say that holiday lovers will definitely prefer the Northeast for its pristine natural beauty over other global tourist destinations. With Nishat Aziz and Pratyush Ghosh, this is Anuja Kumar, AIR News. In the Union Territory of Ladakh, 2 Union Ministers will be participating in the 8th International Day of Yoga on 21st of this month. Law and Justice Minister Kiran Rijiju will participate in Yoga Day at Pangong Tso in Leh, while the Minister of State for Home Affairs Ajay Kumar Mishra in Kargil. The main event of the International Day of Yoga will be held at Mysuru in Karnataka, and it will be led by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Reviewing the preparations for the International Yoga Day in Ladakh, the UT Principal Secretary Dr. Pawan Kotwal directed the District Deputy Commissioners of Leh and Kargil to ensure mass participation in the Yoga Day celebrations.
The passenger bus services between Bangladesh and India resumed this morning with the flagging off of the bus from Dhaka to Kolkata. The flagging off marked the opening of the bus services through the Akhara, Agartala and Benapol, Haridaspur integrated checkposts, ICPs, between the two countries. The opening of these services comes less than 2 weeks after the passenger train service between the two countries was started on 29th of May with the flagging off of the Maitri Express between Dhaka-Kolkata and Bandhan Express train between Kolkata-Khulna. A new bi-weekly train named Mitali Express between New Jalpaiguri and Dhaka was also flagged off by the railway ministers of both the countries on 1st of June. The High Commission of India in Dhaka said in a press release that the opening of the bus services will boost tourism and strengthen the people-to-people contact between the two countries. The bus services through the Davaki-Tamabil ICP will start after the necessary clearances are obtained. It is a major step forward in enhancing affordable, people-centric connectivity between the two countries, tweeted the Indian High Commission. Baba Yogendra, founder member of Sanskar Bharati cultural wing of RSS, passed away in Lucknow this morning. Condoling his death, Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath said in his tweet message that Baba Yogendra was inspiration for thousands of art performers. Governor Anandiben Patel also expressed her condolences. Baba Yogendra was admitted in a hospital in Lucknow since last few weeks and breathed his last around 8 a.m. today. Many eminent personalities related to the field of art and culture have expressed their grief and sorrow over the demise of Baba Yogendra. His last rites will be performed in Lucknow this evening. Baba Yogendra was 98. Born in Basti district of Uttar Pradesh, Baba Yogendra came into touch with Nanaji Deshmukh and became Pracharak of Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has expressed grief, and in a tweet, Mr. Modi said, Baba Yogendra's demise is an irreparable loss to the entire art world.
And now, let's listen to our special program, Azadi Ka Safar, highlighting the importance of the day during the freedom struggle.
आजादी का अमृत महोत्सव। Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. Birth of a Nation.
India's glorious freedom struggle is one of the greatest struggles the modern world has ever witnessed. AIR News brings you a glimpse of the struggle every day.
In today's episode, we remember social reformer Ramanath Tagore, who died on the 10th of June, 1873. In his younger age, he was attracted towards the ideas of Raja Ram Mohan Roy and was one of the original trustees of the Brahma Samaj.
A leading social figure in 19th century Kolkata, Ramanath Tagore was born on the 26th of October, 1801. He was the younger brother of Dwarkanath Tagore. He helped form the Brahma Samaj. He also initiated the establishment of the British Indian Association and was its president from 1867 to 1877. The Indian Association played a catalytic role in building up political consciousness.
In association with Prasanna Kumar Tagore, Ramanath Tagore started the paper Indian Reformer. He contributed extensively to the Harkara, an Englishman, under the pseudonym Hindu. As a member of the Bengal Legislative Council, Ramanath Tagore advocated the rights of the tenants and was named the Rayyat's Friend. He was nominated to the Viceroy's Council in 1873 and was made a Maharaja by Viceroy Lytton. Ramanath Tagore continued to work for the people till his death. We salute the great Indian.
We also remember Gandhian freedom fighter Ponaka Kanakamma, who was born on the 10th of June 1892 in Nellore district, Andhra Pradesh. She participated in the non-cooperation movement and salt satyagraha and is credited for founding Shri Kasturi Devi Vidyalayam, a large school for girls in her home district.
Though Ponaka Kanakamma had no formal schooling, she acquired proficiency in Telugu, Hindi and Sanskrit by her own efforts. In 1913, she started Sujana Ranjini Samajam in Potlapudi village near Nellore to serve the society. She worked for the upliftment of depressed classes. For a brief period, she was under the spell of revolutionary politics and hosted Bipin Chandra Pal during his visit to Nellore in 1907.
Kanakamma later became an ardent disciple of Mahatma Gandhi. She donated 13 acres of land to establish the Pinakini Satyagraha Ashram near Nellore, which was inaugurated by Gandhiji on the 7th of April 1921. For participating in the non-cooperation movement and salt satyagraha, Kanakamma underwent 1.5 years of rigorous imprisonment. Ponaka Kanakamma hosted many eminent freedom fighters and poets at her residence in Potlapudi.
In 1923, Kanakamma founded Sri Kasturi Devi Vidyalayam as a part of Gandhiji's constructive program, and Gandhiji laid the foundation stone for the permanent building in 1929. This sprawling Kasturi Devi Vidyalayam campus, extended to about 23 acres, is a living monument for Kanakamma.
Kanakamma continued to work for the betterment of people till her death in 1963. AIR News salutes the great freedom fighter.
We also remember freedom fighter Makka Pasi, who took part in the First War of Independence in 1857. Makka was a high military official in the Nawab of Awadh's army. He organized 200 soldiers and led them to fight against a British battalion passing through Barabanki from Awadh.
Makka Pasi, along with his comrades, halted the British battalion on its way near village Chinhat on the 10th of June 1857 and fought bravely. After a fierce fight, Makka Pasi was shot dead by the British. AIR News salutes the great martyr.
That brings us to the end of this episode of Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. See you in the next episode tomorrow.
The session of the West Bengal Legislative Assembly began today. In this session, 25 bills will be introduced to remove the governor from the post of Chancellor of all government universities of the state and visitor of private universities, and bring in his place Chief Minister and Minister of Education respectively. There are currently 7 government universities in Bengal, while the number of private universities is also 7. The proceedings of the House will be conducted for 5 days during the 7-day session. The first day of the session was adjourned after paying homage to the deceased.
In the Khelo India Youth Games, Haryana retained the leading position in the medal tally with 33 gold, 27 silver and 36 bronze medals. Maharashtra is falling with 83 medals at the second place. Manipur retained the third place, followed by Tamil Nadu at fourth place. In the men's singles quarter-final of Indonesia Masters 2022 badminton at Jakarta, World Championship bronze winner Lakshya Sen today lost to Chinese Taipei's third seed Chao Tian-chen 16-21, 21-12, 14-21. In the women's singles, two-time Olympic medalist PV Sindhu will face 8th-ranked Chinese Taipei's Ratchanok Intanon later in the day.
The Sensex and the Nifty today witnessed losses of more than 1.5% in the afternoon trade. Both indices declined in sync with losses in the global share markets. The Sensex was trading below 54,400 mark, while the Nifty was trading below 16,250 level. The Sensex plunged 926 points or 1.67% to trade at 54,395, while the Nifty tumbled 253 points or 1.53% to trade at 16,226. In the forex market, the rupee weakened 11 paise to trade at 77 rupees and 87 paise against the US dollar in afternoon deals. Now let us take a look at the weather update for the day. National capital Delhi is expected to have generally cloudy sky with light rain or drizzle during the day. Minimum temperature was recorded at 33 degrees Celsius, while the maximum will be around 43 degrees. Mumbai, rain or thunder showers would occur towards afternoon or evening. Chennai is expected to have generally cloudy sky with light rain or drizzle. Kolkata is likely to have partly cloudy sky. Srinagar is expected to have partly cloudy sky with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers. Jammu and Muzaffarabad are likely to have mainly clear sky, becoming partly cloudy towards evening or night. Leh and Gilgit are likely to have generally cloudy sky with possibility of rain or thunderstorm or dust storm. Visakhapatnam, Bengaluru and Thiruvananthapuram are expected to have generally cloudy sky with 1 or 2 spells of rain. And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurates development projects worth over 3,000 crore rupees under Gujarat Gaurav Abhiyan. Says these development projects will help open opportunities for tribal people by improving connectivity and basic amenities in the state. The double-engine government worked dedicatedly on Garib Kalyan through schemes such as Awas Yojana, Jal Jeevan Mission and Ujjwala Yojana, and improved lives and livelihood of the marginalized, says Prime Minister. President Ramnath Kovind to attend 6th convocation of Central University of Himachal Pradesh at Dharamshala this evening. During biennial elections to Rajya Sabha, polling underway for 16 seats across 4 states of Maharashtra, Karnataka, Rajasthan and Haryana. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh visits training institutions of Vietnam on the final day of his 3-day visit to the Southeast Asian country. New guidelines to protect interests of the consumer from misleading publicity come into effect from today. And in the Indonesia Masters Badminton Tournament, PV Sindhu to take on